Amen.
Hey world,
Hey Dallas.
welcome to Tit for Tat. I'm Alvin,
And I'm Charles.
and today, thanks for joining us, everyone. And today we are going to be talking about
Labels.
and stereotypes. How do you feel about uh, labels, gay and straight labels, and are they necessary? Are they harmful? Uh, what do you think about that, Charles? Do like some of the labels and stuff that we have, and then and I also want to talk about the dynamic between like when who who says or when somebody calls us a certain what a label or a name, if and when is it offensive and when is it not offensive, and then also how do we you know how do we take those labels and make them positive for our for our community. What do you think about that?
Well, I think first of all, are we jumping right into this? We're jumping right into it. Okay.
Slick says, "Hey, Slick."
Yeah, I was just about to.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
We're jumping right into it. Nothing before. Okay.
Yeah, we'll just jump into it, and then I'm gonna bring in a video. It's a few years old, but so with this video, it's like depending on is it like depending on who calls us a name, or just like with the straight community, there's labels and stuff out there too that they call each other, that we call them, that they call us. When is it offensive and when is it not offensive? And why do we label ourselves like that?
I mean, well, for me, I think that as long as you live, as long as you're living and in this world, there's always going to be labels. I mean, you can't go without seeing the labels. You go to the grocery store, there's labels on everything. Your car has a label. I mean, your computer, it has a label or logo or whatever. So that's nothing we can get around, I don't think. But I do think we can be, just observant or a little bit conscious of the labels we use and how we're using them. Because, I mean, I guess even your skin color or your nationality or ethnicity is a label, right? So you're gonna have those labels. However, they shouldn't be used to make you less of a person or to demean you or whatever. But people, there's some bad people in the world. There's some mean people or confused people or less knowledgeable people that may use those labels to, for whatever benefit they're trying to get out of it. They're trying to make you less or make you feel less than who you are. Then that's what they do. But you have to know within yourself, that's not me or whatever. But I think I don't think there's any to get around labels. However, I think we should always be cognizant of how we use the labels, not to harm, but to maybe just describe. And also, you can use a label to upbuild someone or encourage someone. It doesn't always have to be to tear down someone or what have you. And if a person is bothered by the label you have given them, they should have that opportunity to, confront it and be like, hey, I know that's what you may assume of me or what you may see presented in front of you, but I really don't like that, or I prefer you like you call me this or whatever. We should have those conversations where just like we mentioned in one of the videos about biological women having an issue with the cis thing or whatever. And if you do, that's fine. Let's have the conversation. There should be room and space for those type of conversations to be had, because you may label me something, I may not like it, and I have every right to not like it or whatever. And I should have that space to be able to let you know, hey, I know what you're getting at, but I really don't like that or whatever. We're grown. So
Okay. So I'm gonna play this video, and you tell me what you think about this person, about this, because we hear this a lot.
Okay.
But then we also use the word ourself. But I'm gonna play the video, and then you tell me offensive or not offensive.
Okay.
Handiwork of God. He made man and male, and then he made female. No in between. I get so sick of sissies, I don't know what to do. I'm sick of sissies. And half the time bringing them in somebody's church, fanning over somebody's choir, I'm sick of sissies. Just sick of them. My God from on high. We ain't got no men now. They either in jail or on the corner or switching somewhere. God help us.
So
that's a lot there.
That's a lot there. And the congregation was hooping and hollering and agreeing with it or whatever. I'm sure there was some sissies in there, quote unquote. But so.
Yeah, for me, when I saw that, there's a lot there. So, like you say, some of the words that we use, we've given ourselves. Like when I was growing up, family members would, you're a blockhead, or my brother even had a nickname. They called him Egghead because his head was shaped a certain way. I mean, we give each other these little nicknames or these little labels or whatever. I was always Little Charles because I'm a junior or whatever. I mean, stuff like that, nerd, and you're so skinny, and all this kind of stuff. So one thing is we made these words ourselves. When you say the word sissy, who are you talking about? So evidently we've named it, and we've all described who it is, because say a person didn't know what that was, and they are gay or whatever, they probably wouldn't even be offended because they're like, what's a sissy? I don't even know. So you would have to know what she means when she says that. I'm pretty sure all those people, they're of age, they probably know, because it seemed like they were all older people. So they probably have already made the word and defined what it is or whatever. So, I mean, you have to just take that in consideration, that most of the things that we call each other, we invented ourselves, and everyone's not going to get it, but those that get it will probably be the ones that are offended by it or whatever. Those that don't, won't be offended unless they go look it up or someone tells them or whatever.
What do you mean when you say we invented it ourselves? Are you saying that gay people invented the word sissy?
No, humans have invented the word sissies. I mean, like all the words or whatever. We make these. We put power in these words. A lot of people have taken back power to some words. I know a lot of people say, like the word nigger. It was offensive, like when a white person does it, but now they say they've taken the power back, and so now it's in all the rap songs or whatever, like my nigga, all this or whatever. But it was offensive when it was over here, but now it's okay because we've taken the power back or whatever. So it's just a lot.
So in the rap songs and stuff, the way Black people use the word, they don't use it in the same context, or it's not, they don't even say nigger, they say nigga. So it's Nigga. So instead of saying nigger, nigger was the what they called the slaves or the blacks, or whatever back in which some people still call us that. But yeah, they take the word to I guess to take the sting out of it. And so you rarely hear another black person call somebody a nigger. You will hear them say, they do say nigga, but they're using it in a different context. You know, I'm not saying whether that's okay or whether it's not. It still kind of denotes back to the nigger thing, you know, but it's just they took that to take the sting out of the word. And so I think you'll rarely hear any black person call somebody a nigger. When you hear that, that's usually going to come out of some, like white people's mouth or unless somebody's using it.
I don't really care how you say
context.
To me, it's the same thing. White people they can say nigger too. I mean, it doesn't matter if you say nigger or nigga. It's still the same thing to me. But it's how you perceive it. How you take it or whatever.
So you think when black people are using it in rap songs or like when if you say my nigga or you say nigga or whatever, you think that's the same as calling somebody a nigger? You think they're using it, or when you use it, when you're using it, are you using it in the same context? When you call somebody nigga, are you using it in the same context as nigger? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that the word is the same, but the context is different. So to me, it doesn't matter how you say it. To me, it's still nigger. Well, I mean, it's still nigger. I mean, it's to me, it's the same.
So you think it's a double entendre?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what happens? What about faggot?
And see here again, this is a word that we've created or whatever, humans or whatever. Most of the time it was to, demean us and say, I mean, that's the only way I've heard it. I haven't heard anyone say, well, I'm back, and be, but then I think some of us have taken the word and to take this, like you say, take the sting out of it and be like, yeah, I'm a fag or whatever, So, and I think there is power in that when people have used a certain word, whatever that may be, bitch, nigga, hoe, whatever, whatever they use. I think there's, some power in taking a word and pulling out, the vileness of it and, the poison of it and actually making it to where, you know what, I'll own that and I'll change what, how it's perceived. I'll change the picture of it and, make it to where, that's not a bad word. Like it's something that actually can empower some people, a person that's, I guess, can be depressed about it or get into their feelings and, maybe want to kill themselves. If you take the power out of that and say, no, this is a positive word, or it's a strong word or whatever, then they're probably not, they're not so depressed or down on if someone calls them that or if someone references them as that or whatever. So, it's whatever you perceive it to be. But yeah, I think fag was always used to make us feel bad, but yeah, it's how you take the word or whatever and what you choose. Because some people, like in our little circles, we call each other these little words or whatever, and it's like it becomes our slang. It becomes our everyday. Hey Ray, it becomes our everyday language, like girl, bitch, stuff like that. So it's like we take the word and we take the sting out of it, or the vileness out of it, and the poison or whatever, the toxic out of it, and we make it to where it's like it's just how we communicate with each other now.
So when we use it though, sometimes do you think even though we use those words to take the sting out, we can also use those words to put the sting in? That's what they say when they're reading somebody, when the gays or whatever, they're reading somebody's, and then, like the word faggot. Okay. I don't hear gay people call another gay person faggot. I do hear them say that's a fag, or whatever, and they're using it in a different context or whatever. Just like the word nigger, I hear black folks say nigga. I don't hear them say nigger. Now, maybe there's some out there that do, but I've never heard a black person call another black person a nigger. but I do hear them say nigga. Just like with gays, I'll hear gays call another, when they're playing around or whatever, or they're trying to tell somebody else that that's a gay person right there, like maybe secretly doing it, like they don't want the person to know that they're calling them a fag. And they be like, oh, like whatever, like you say, you can say, oh girl, that's a fag, or whatever. But or that's a sissy. They say that's a sissy, or that's a fag, or that's a, some of them have said that's a pump. Some of them have said, that's a good lady. Yeah, that's the lady or something, like that. But then they can also use those words against, we can use those words against us too, even though we can use them for positive, we can also use those words against us, So, and then, when we're using those, I want to ask Ray something real quick before I get back to that. So Ray, Ray, you said true. What do you mean when you said, what were you saying true about, from what either Charles or I said? When you said true, what were you saying true? What were you referring to when you said true? If you type that, or if you want to come in and talk with us, that'd be good too. Here's my cousin in here. Here's Winnie. Winnie's in here.
Hey, cousin.
Yeah, there's my cousin right there. She says, I don't like either word. So you don't like either word. You don't like the word nigga. Do you like the word nigga, Winnie, or do you like the word faggot? You don't like the word faggot, nigga, nigger, or fag, or you just don't like any of the words. You don't like any of the negative stereotypes and words and labels that are used against anybody in the world, or is it just certain words? Oh, here she goes. She said there are no no's. So yeah, so I'm I want to probably clear up some of the questions that they're asking, that they're saying or whatever.
Is Ray still in here? He may have left out.
Yeah,
because you're waiting on him.
Yeah, I was going to see if Ray had anything to say. He may, to answer that question, but he may have left. But there's quite a few people in here, so he might still be one of them. But Jay, let's ask Jay and Jay and Joe also. Hey guys, so let's see what Slick says here. In language, the ER at the end of a word often gets dropped for an A. Oh, Ray's still in here. He says, don't like it. He said,
and that's how I feel, Slick.
He says he don't like none of it.
That's how I feel, Slick. I think, we just have different ways of saying, like, first of all, Black people, we have our own language. You know what I mean? We cut off words. We kind of slur our words, especially if you're in the South. We don't always pronounce the word all the way. So, it may be proper to say nigger, but in the South, because we're, we just draw our stuff, we just say nigger, 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 my nigger. And, so to me, I don't see the difference. Nigger to me is the same thing. It's just like, in the South, that's all I heard. And even white people in the South, first of all, I haven't really heard a lot of white people say it, but the ones I've had, they don't necessarily emphasize that ER. Some of them just say nigga because we're in the South or whatever. So to me, I don't see a difference in them. So yeah, I get that, Slick. And you're right, Sensei, they are offensive and degrading.
There's the stream key if anybody wants to come in and talk live with us, come in and you can show yourself or not show yourself, but there's the stream key if anybody wants to come in.
Sensei, I watch a lot of housewife shows, and so it's funny because at one moment they could all be, kikiing or whatever, and it's bitch this, bitch this, bitch this, but then when they get mad with each other, did you just call me a bitch? It's like, well, she was just calling you a bitch a minute ago when y'all was, having fun and kikiing with each other. And so it's like, you never know how people are gonna take it, but you kind of know when a person is coming at you in a derogatory way because there's emphasis on it. Like, hey, you know, hey bitch, how you doing? But when they met bitch, and you know, they put that little extra in it or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you mean business.
So let's talk about bitch then. So straight women, you know, they call each other bitch. Gays call each other bitch too, you know, and it's not meant to be offensive unless you're, depends on the context, I guess you're using it in. So, but straight women, they'll call each other bitch in a plain, jokingly way too. But they don't want a man to call. They don't want another straight man to call them a bitch. But they will allow. Most of them will allow a gay guy to call, you know, their friends or what they call their good Judies or whatever. They may allow another gay guy, you know, who they hang around with or their friends to call them a bitch because they do it all the time. And they call each other bitches and hoes and stuff, you know, like that. And how do you feel about that? Like where, you know, but is it okay for like straight women, like for straight women to call you a fag or a sissy? Would you be offended if a straight woman, whether they were your friend or not? Let's put it in the context if they were your friend, and then let's put it in the context of if they weren't your friend or just somebody you knew on the street. So how do you handle that? Like if you hear somebody on the street just come up and call some, you know, they're talking about gay people in general, or, you know, lesbians, bis, trans, non-binary, you know, whatever. How do you handle the two differences? When do you choose to accept it, or is it like when you're on your job, you know, when you have like where people are harassed, you know, playing around with what they can call harassment, you know, or whatever. If one person is saying something to another person on the job, and they even if this person hears it over here and they find it offensive, then it can be reported, and then you have to stop that type of behavior. But if the person you're talking to, they don't find it offensive, and then this person over here doesn't find it offensive either, is it still okay?
So for me, my answer,
for somebody to call each other a bitch or something.
My answer is very simple, and everybody that knows me that's a friend, they already know how this is for me. Can't speak for everybody, but for me, I think anything other than my name is disrespectful. I don't like a perfect stranger or someone that I meet or if they think that we may be cool to call me girl, to call me bitch, because first of all, that's not what I'm presenting. I don't know what you're seeing, but I have a whole beard, and I mean, I'm a man, so I'm not a girl, I'm not a bitch, I'm not all that. Now, where I do kind of like, you know, waver in it a little bit is when I'm around friends and we're just having a good old time. And it's not that I like it, but I know that we're all, you know, we're just feeling it, we're joking or whatever. And it's like, girl, this or whatever, I'll let that slide. But the main thing is because you're my friend. No stranger should ever come up to me and misgender me or misname me other than Charles. That's what I told you my name is. That's what you should address me as or whatever. So to me, it's just simple as that. It's all about respect to me. So I don't care what situation I'm in. I present to you as Charles. I present to you as a male, unless you know a male that doesn't look like this. But that's what I present. So that's what you should call me. And like I said, the only way that I kind of change on that is when I'm around friends that, you know me, we love each other, and we're just having, you know, a good old gay time or whatever. And, you know, we may get into the girls and the bitches or whatever. Not to say that I like it, but I kind of know, you know, where I'm at in the environment I'm in is it's not that offensive or whatever. So that's what, I don't know how well, we've had that conversation. You don't care. You call me whatever.
Yeah, you know, as far as me, I don't really. The only word that is offensive, they're all kind of offensive. They are offensive words, but to me, it's like what you said. It's like who's talking to you. You know, if they're a friend or a, you know, close family member, you know, and you jacking around or just playing around or something like that, it doesn't bother me. I know I'm not a girl. You know, I know I'm not a fag. I know I'm not a sissy. I know whatever. So it doesn't bother me. But the nigga word does not bother me when when people are saying nigga, because most of our friends that are black, a lot of them do say that, maybe not all the time, but they do use that word, whatever. You're not gonna hear it come out of my mouth because I didn't grow up that way, even
Right.
with nigger or nigga,
Right.
I didn't hear it. So you're not gonna hear, unless I'm just describing it in some type of context,
Right.
you're not gonna hear me call somebody nigga,
Right.
Hey, what's up, my nigga, or whatever.
Mhm.
We know that that's like, yeah, this is my friend or this is my buddy, or whatever. But if somebody say nigger, then it changes the context for me,
Yeah.
And I would get very offensive if a white person called me nigger or a Hispanic person called me nigger, or any other ethnicity calls me nigger.
Mhm.
When I hear, it depends on what they say to me, as far as like, I have never had anybody call me a fag, or whatever. They probably have behind my back or whatever, but not to my face. I've never heard nobody call me a fag or a sissy or whatever, unless we were just playing around,
Right.
So I do have a straight friend, and she calls me Sissified Tweety Bird at work, right?
Oh my.
And that doesn't bother me because me and her are banding back and
Right.
forth, because I call her names and she calls me names, and we're just playing back around.
Yes.
But here's the context, though. She can do that.
Like John said, Jay and Joe, friends get a pat. I agree with Charles on that point. Friends get a pat. Right.
And then so me and her play back and forth or whatever. But here's the other thing. Somebody else at work could do it, and then I would get offended.
Oh yeah.
Because it's
relationship.
Yeah, it's like relationship. But then what happens if you fall out with your friends, or y'all are on the fallout or something for a month, and then one of them says it and they call you, y'all are arguing or something, and then one of them, then they call you that, fucking fag, or that, or whatever, they say something, like that. Would it offend you then because the context changed, because now you and them are not like talking, or you're not friends no more, and then they call you a fag or they call you a bitch? Because I've heard some women where they play back and forth, they call each other a bitch and stuff, like that. But when they're mad at each other, and then that one calls them a bitch, then they would get highly upset. Like I've seen some videos, like I was watching TGIF Friday, not Friday, but TGIF. I was watching that with Claudia, and I think Claudia and Al and Funky were on there.
Mhm.
And then, like Funky would call Claudia, he might say, bitch, so-and-so or so-and-so, and she was fine with it. But then every now and then when she felt like it seemed like when they were like not really feeling each other that day or whatever, they were mad at each other, then she could get offended if he called her
So
a
it's
bitch.
a friendly way to say it, and then it's a way to say it like, I'm coming for you.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm not really feeling you. I'm about to kill you with my words or whatever. But yeah, I mean, as friends, because you have to be on that type of show, you have to have some kind of friendship or relationship or whatever. So I think they kind of know that some words can pass and we're okay with them, but I think it's how you use them too in the context. Like if you're using an argument and you're using that me, then I know you're not just being friendly with it. You're trying to throw a punch or whatever. And then a lot of straight women, I think you said this before, a lot of straight women, they're okay when it's coming from the gay dude. So I think with Claudia and I don't know, did he ever say he was gay?
Who? Al?
Yeah.
He's bisexual.
Okay. Gay. So I think it's I think it's
So he can
okay.
be bi?
He can.
When he says he's bi, so why are you gonna call him gay?
If bi equals gay.
I thought bi equals bi.
And gay.
Okay.
So yeah, my point is, because he's in the alphabet, he kind of gets a pass. So straight women, most of the times that I've seen, will give a gay guy or someone in the alphabet a pass with calling them bitches or whatever. Like I say, a straight dude wouldn't be able to just walk up to a girl and be like, hey, bitch, or, whatever. Oh, no. But if their guy friend that's in the alphabet call them a bitch, I think they pretty much give them a pass. stereotypes.
Right. So I had asked some of my straight friends that are women. I asked them, and they said they don't ever want a man to call them a bitch or a cunt. But here's the thing: gay men will also call straight women cunt or cunty, and the straight women don't like that either. They don't like to be called cis, and they don't like to be called cunt. But gay people will use that word still a lot, and referencing straight women. But it's the gay lingo. So they, so it's like, oh, is it okay? Because even if the women still don't like that, and the gay guys are still calling them cunt, should we stop, or should we still? Because it's our language that we brought, that they brought for our, to define us, or to help us, or however you explain that. Should we stop calling women? I don't call them that, but should the gay guys that call women cunts, should they stop that? And should they stop calling them cis, because they don't like to be called cis either?
You should stop calling anyone anything that they have told you that they don't want to.
So the person should tell you that themselves, and then you stop, or should it just stop? As a general practice, to stop using certain words, even though they use certain words for us, because they will call us, sissy, or and even gay. You can use gay and use it as a derogatory. It can be used when they're trying to, when they say, when they're whispering or something, like that, like they're gay, they're gay or something, like that. So any of the words can turn into negative, depending on, depending on how you're using them, who you're using them with, and who you're using them around. But I do agree, if somebody tells you I don't want to be called that, then you need to stop or whatever. But then it gets kind of sort of tricky, because you can still be standing here with this person, and then this person is allowed to do it, but then that person is not allowed to do it. It's just like with white folks in rap music, where they, the black folks use nigga in the word, nigga this, nigga that. But then when the white folks are singing it, or the white folks say it, then it becomes, because I can tell you, when I hear a white person, even if I hear a white person say nigga, even not nigger, but I hear them singing the song and they say the word nigger, for some reason it triggers something in me where, and maybe I grew up in that era where, where we were called niggers, or whatever. I didn't get the fag word or the sissy word growing up, but I did get the nigger word. We would hear that, or be chased, out of certain neighborhoods and stuff, and called nigger. And then, the nigga didn't come around till later, because people wouldn't call it nigga. They wasn't saying nigga back when I was coming up. It was nigger. But now, as the music came out, and then the hip hop culture, and rap culture and stuff, that's what, a lot of the nigga came in. And I don't find it offensive when I hear it when the black people are doing it, because I kind of know the context they in, or the context they're using it in, even though sometimes they can use it too. Like, if they're mad at somebody, I'm gonna beat that nigga's ass. They don't say nigger, but I'll beat that nigga's ass, which means it changed. Yeah, I've never heard a black person say nigger either. But when but then it changed. That the context changes again when they're mad at somebody. Black folks, they're mad at this people, or they don't like that whole group and they want to fight or something. Then the nigger context changes again. So then it does become offensive. So. But I don't like it. I don't like it when I hear a white person say nigger or singing to the song. Even though I might like the white person, we're fine, we're cool, whatever. I still don't want to hear that come out of their mouth. I don't like to hear it come out of Hispanics' mouth or something. But for some reason, I can accept it coming out of the black people's mouth. But same thing with fag and stuff, like that. With gay people, it depends on the context, or who's saying it, because sometimes they can use it towards you maliciously, or they can use it to hurt you, or like I said, when they're what they call reading, or they're trying to embarrass you, or they're fighting or doing stuff, like that. They can take any of those words and use them, to cause harm. And so here's what Slick says. I'm gonna rock the boat a bit. I don't feel comfortable when really light-skinned people be wanting to call me the N-word, especially if they got a lot of white friends. So then we get into the colorism,
Mm.
you know. So with that, we're getting into the colorism of, because she, you know, they, you know, they don't want to be called the N word at all. So Slick, is it is it when, like, say light skinned people are in like the videos and stuff, or they're in rap music and stuff, you know, like that, and they're using the N word, do you feel like they are and they're light skinned and they're doing it, how do you feel like they're using it in a derogatory manner, as like in the form of colorism? And then you said, and especially if they got a lot of white friends, does it seem like what they're looking, their nose down on like dark skinned people, or
Yeah, that sounds like a colorist.
it sounds like a colorism thing, but then but it's okay. But then it's okay when a dark skinned person uses the word to be with you or towards you or at you, but not a light skinned person. Yeah, I would like to know what that's all about too, because it sounds like there's some colorism going on. So it sounds like
it's kind of like what you said, how you said, you know, you have a problem when white people say it. And, I mean, you know, we have triggers sometimes. Like, I know that if I ever heard a white person, not in real life, but maybe like if I'm watching maybe like TikTok or whatever, I may hear a white person say the N word or whatever, and I know that they're just reciting a song, you know, because I want to believe that they don't say it in real life, but I don't know. At the time, they're just reciting a song, and what do they supposed to just skip over it or whatever, or just not? And a lot of people probably say, "Yeah, don't even say that word because you're white. You shouldn't say it or whatever." But I get it; they're just reciting a song or whatever. Does that make it right or wrong? I can't really say or whatever. I don't like the word at all, really. I know that we use it. If I ever use it, I'm just being like playful with, because that's like you said, I didn't grow up using the word. We didn't grow up saying nigger, whatever. We didn't grow up saying it, whatever. But I know I heard it used or whatever. And there are certain friendships or certain environments, I would hear it a lot. And sometimes when you're in that kind of environment, it kind of becomes your language as well. Like even with cussing, like I didn't grow up hearing cuss words or whatever, but if I hung around a lot of people that did curse, I would slip up every now and then and say a curse word or whatever. Then when I separated from them, you would never hear a curse word from me again, because it wasn't what I did or whatever. I can be in a barbershop, and I mean, I'm okay with my gayness or whatever, but they could say something about gay people, whatever, and it is something in me that'll be like, and it's like, why is it, you know, why do I feel that? Why is that triggering me or whatever, you know? Is it because of the way they're using it, or is it because, you know, I don't think that straight people should even address talking about gay people, whatever, or like, why are we even discussing that anyway? So I think we all have our own personal biases to, you know, who should use what and who should say what, and, you know, you should never say that or whatever, but, you know.
Hey, what's up? What's up, guys? Can you hear us, Joe? You don't hear? Yeah, I can hear y'all.
We hear the background.
It looks like it's hard. I can hear that.
I hope my connection is not bad. I'm actually on the road.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you. If my connection is bad, my apologies.
Oh, that's okay. We know how this Wi-Fi internet stuff is.
Yeah, it's probably
it can be good one moment, and the next moment you're getting comments saying your audio sucks,
right.
or your video is bad.
It's probably just a delay, but we'll give you time. Just get out whatever you want to say so we can get it.
Jason says hi, by the way.
Hey, Jay.
I'm driving.
Hey guys, I enjoyed y'all live the other day. It was fun.
Oh, thank you. It was a lot of fun doing it. Thank you both for coming.
Oh, you're welcome.
So,
and everybody, y'all go check out Jay. I keep wanting to call him Jai for some reason. That I throws me off. But it's Jay and Joe and Jay and Jay and Joe. But I keep wanting to say Jai for some reason. But y'all go check them out. They got really good content.
Thank you. So I personally grew up saying the word. But like as I started getting older, I started realizing that some black people that I was around didn't like when I said the word or like when I called them out their name. So I started trying to remove it from my vocabulary. At times it still slips out, but I purposely try not to use it because I know not everybody grew up the way that I grew up, and some people really get offended by it.
Is that nigga or gay or fat?
I'm trying not to say it, but the first one.
Nigga. Okay.
The N word.
The N word. Okay. I'm only using it because we're talking about it, because I don't actually use the word at all. Now, people, when I'm talking to certain people, they will say, they'll say, because, Charles will say nigga to me all the time.
I do not. I don't know why he lied.
Oh my God, he just did it before we even came live. So, you know what I'm saying? But it doesn't offend me because I know what context he's using it in and where he's coming from. And then I don't mind when other, like other black people use like, what's up, my nigga, or hey nigga, or when they're describing somebody like that nigga was, so and so, but they don't say nigger. So that's the only reason why I'm using it now in this video. But go ahead, sir.
Yeah, and then as far as like girl, I've had people call me girl, like friends. I'm cool with it, but like if I know you, I'm okay with it. But like if a stranger, kind of like we always say, if a stranger came up to me and said that, I would feel like they were being offensive. So I would get extremely offended and respond in a very offensive way.
Okay.
How would you respond? Give us a label of how you would respond.
You probably don't want to see
I don't
that.
know. My mind goes quick. My mind goes really quick. So whatever comes into my head, normally comes out. So.
Right. Okay. So,
the tongue assassin.
So like I know me and Charles have had this discussion when I first met you. Which I never had called him girl, or anything like that. But I remember he told me that he didn't like when it has to be like, I guess, a real close friend, someone like, you're like, Roger and them and Tim and Michael or whatever. If they do it, then you're okay with it. But you don't want any other people just coming up to you and call you girl. You find it offensive, period.
Yeah, you don't know me. Why would you do that? And that goes for, and that's what you were saying about the straight women. Excuse me. How you said they don't just like anyone coming up to them, calling them certain things or whatever. It's all about respect and relationship. First of all, you have to respect people no matter what. And then a relationship, when you have that relationship, you begin to understand what I'm comfortable with and what I'm not comfortable with or whatever. Someone that doesn't have a relationship with me, they're not going to know. So for you to assume just because we're out at the club, we're out at the bar or whatever, that you can just call me a girl. Okay. Number one mistake, you don't know me. You don't know me. And you can't just assume that because I'm gay, that I'm okay with being called that. All gays are not like that.
So do you address it? Do you address it right then?
Oh,
like if you're somewhere and then you're allowing, just say we were somewhere and then, I've never heard Roger or them call you girl, but just say we were somewhere and then it just slipped out, and he was like, girl, this, or whatever. Would you would be okay with that? But then just say there was 3 or 4 other people here that they were just casual acquaintances, and then they just said it too because we're all joking around, and then somebody said, girl, you would address it right then. Is that what you're saying? You would tell that person in front of this person, don't call me girl, even though you're allowing this one to do it?
I've done it. I did that when we were on our trip with Larry, because they were doing it or whatever. But when Larry did, I had a problem because me and Larry, we're not there yet, I don't think, or whatever. But once we get there, and then if I know you're just, playing or whatever and all that kind of stuff or whatever. But I mean, there's times where it happens in those type of situations where I don't, because you kind of feel the vibe, you know that they're just joking, playing or whatever. But just to come and meet someone for the first time and just assume that or whatever, then no, or whatever.
So I can tell you with Larry, years ago, because we've been friends for almost 20 years now. Years ago, you couldn't even call him, he didn't like it either for you to call him girl. But once Larry got comfortable, and comfortable with actually not being GL or being gay and out, or whatever, he does it. He'll do it with me and Dre. We don't find it offensive. We do it. We banter back and forth with it, and you can hear "ho, bitch,"
Right.
a girl, or whatever, because we're very close friends. You might hear that or something, but sometimes he does it. He's not, when he did it, he wasn't meaning any harm or anything against you. It just slipped out because everybody was playing, and then see, that's where it gets tricky with me, because it seems like, if you're in a group and everybody's doing it, but then these people aren't your friends, then you would get offended by it. But it's like,
it's just like you said at your job, how that one girl, that one woman can call you the Twinkie or whatever she calls you, but then someone else does, you whatever, you get offended because you have a relationship with them. It's not so much of what you said and how you said it. In a way, it is not big, but the big thing is you do not know me to call me that. Okay. That's where the problem is for me.
So devil's advocate, okay? Devil's advocate. So if just say you're around a bunch of straight people, and then you hear them talking about gay people saying gay derogatory stuff, do you put a stop to that right there and confront them? Or do you not say anything because you might be afraid of what's going to happen to you, like a fight might break out, or they might attack you, or whatever? So is there a difference when you address it with gay people, and a difference when you address it with straight people? Would you not confront a straight person when they're doing it, like the barbershop? So if you hear them in there making offensive comments, do you stop that and address it, or do you let that slide because you're in an environment where it could become hostile? But because it can become hostile in the gay environment too, because these gays be fighting. You say one thing and they're ready to fight.
Well, in the situation that you said before, the person was actually talking to me, but the straight scenario, you're saying that they're just talking about just whatever, just the umbrella, whatever, people or whatever. So at my age today and where I'm at today, yes, I would bring a stop to it. Earlier, I probably wouldn't, because I wasn't there. So I'm mature enough or whatever, whatever. And then sometimes conversations, I don't even bother with that. You talk whatever you want to talk or whatever, because I'm gonna talk whatever I want to talk. But when it comes to me, then yeah, I might say something. So it just depends. You choose your battles or whatever.
So if they're indirectly they're not actually calling you a fag, but they mentioned the fag word in the barbershop, and they say, well, these fags was out on the street, so and so. You wouldn't confront them because they didn't directly say that to you?
I didn't say that. I said it depends. I may say something, then I may not. It just depends on how I'm affected at the time. At the time, I mean, if that's what the lingo they want to use or whatever, and it's not really, it may not bother me or whatever. Every conversation does not bother me, but when it becomes, I guess, I don't know, when it becomes to me, when it becomes personal, then yeah, I'm gonna say something.
I remember, Oh, go ahead, Joe. Go ahead, Joe.
I was gonna say, I agree with Charles on that. Like, depending on how I'm feeling at the moment, I may say something or may not. Normally, I don't try to put myself into drama that doesn't involve me or somebody I'm around. So normally I would try to stay out of it. I'll just try to remove myself from the situation. But depending on how I'm feeling, that may not happen like that. But if I'm in a barber shop and people are using it, if I'm not like in a chair, I'll probably just leave, because I won't even feel comfortable in the environment.
Right. And sometimes I would say this too, to go with that. Sometimes you build relationships with your barber, and if your barber is the person that is partaking in this conversation, I have some barbers. Well, most barbers, you kind of have their numbers, or you have some way of reaching them, or you may be Facebook friends or whatever. If I have that relationship with that something like that, I might send them a DM or a text and be like, "Hey, dude, that conversation that y'all was having in the barbershop, I didn't really like that," or whatever. That's relationship. So therefore, that person knows, oh, that offends you or whatever. Especially at one barbershop I went to, he was the actual owner. So he could put a stop to stuff like that if I made my issue known or whatever. He could, because he knows that could stop his business. I mean, or whatever. So he could put a stop to it. Say, have a meeting with all the rest of the barbers and say, hey, y'all, I'm not gonna name names or whatever, but when we talk about, the gay stuff or homosexuality stuff, we don't need to do that, especially if it's in a derogatory way or whatever. But at least I did my part by addressing the issue or whatever. So I mean, when you have that relationship, sometimes you can, maybe not in the moment address it, but maybe on down the line or behind the scenes address it and be like, hey dude, I didn't really care for that conversation or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna play this one more time, and then
handiwork of God. He made man and male, and then he made female, no in between. I get so sick of sisters, I don't know what to do. I'm sick of sisters. And half the time bringing them in somebody's church, fanning over somebody's choir, I'm sick of sisters. My God from on high. We ain't got no men now. They either in jail or on the corner or switching somewhere. God help us.
So how do we address that? So when you're in church, or for people who go to church, or you're somewhere and that just comes out of and it's not just her, there's lots of them in churches and lots of places where they're doing this type of preaching. But so how do you address that? Do you just get up and walk out and not go back, and just say that's your church and you grew up there and you're used to it? Do you sit there and do you allow that? Do you address her separately later for saying something like that, or you don't address her at all, even though you find it offensive? Because it was offensive the way she was using it. So how do you handle that type of situation? Is that another situation where, and I'm not just talking like the Charles, or I'm talking about in general out to the world, people who are watching or listening. How do you handle these type of situations when we're in them? Because these are labels that they use against us, and that we take on and use for ourselves too. So how do we, you know what I'm saying?
To me, it's so many different ways, because I was.
Hey Jay, let's go.
Hey, I did grow up in the church or whatever. So so many different ways. I think on TikTok,
I'm the better cook.
on TikTok, I think to hear that it's more to me like a comedy relief. I mean, because a comedian, you could take her out the pulpit and put her in a comedy club, and all type of people will laugh, even the gay people. Just the way she's saying it, and she gives you that Madea, kind of that old grandma, that old way of thinking or whatever. And it's funny, like Nene, that old kind of talking and thinking or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it comes off a little funny or whatever, for TikTok or whatever. But like I said, if you put that same lady in a comedy club, everybody's gonna laugh. Just the way her delivery is. Okay, so that's one way. The second way is that I see this being offensive is, if you do know what she means by when she says sissies, and I think most of them probably did, then yes, I will probably walk out or whatever. I mean, no one made you go there. No one forced you to go there. They're not paying your bills. They're not, unless they are, because they may be, because I know what denomination that is, and I know there are probably musicians that were there, or not. I mean, I'll pick up the musicians, but I mean, you have them in the choir, you have them on the pulpit. They're there in all different, auxiliaries or whatever. Then yeah, if I would walk out, because that would be offensive to what you're saying. Why are you sick of sissies? What is it that that is so disturbing to you that you had to mention that. Because what you should be doing is sharing the gospel, which is the good news, that everybody's saved, or that they're free, or that, that they have life, or, whatever. It shouldn't be about this particular lifestyle, because if you're going to do that, then not real lifestyle or just the way you are, then you need to talk about everything else. You need to talk about the cheaters. You need to talk about the thieves. You need to talk about the people that, are having sex. Just everything. Don't just stop it right there, because, it's a lot of things that you may be sick and tired of. Address them all. Don't just, do that or whatever. But yeah, as far as how do we handle that, you have a choice to attend that meeting or not. So, I don't think at this point, as old as she is and as in her beliefs in her Bible and how she takes it, how she interprets it, I don't think it's gonna I think it would be a waste of your time to confront her personally and try to change her on this issue. And a lot of them, I will say this, a lot of them, they say one thing in the pulpit, but they believe a whole nother thing at home, because they have family members that are gay. They have even, they may be cousins, uncles, or even kids or whatever. And they treat them a whole nother way. They probably tell them, I don't agree with this or whatever, but you still love them. You still, feed them. You still shelter them, or, whatever the dynamics of that relationship is. But they feel like they have a responsibility when they get in the pulpit to put it down, because, this is what this whole organization or this whole, religion or whatever is expecting you to do. So I have to do that, because if I don't, then I'm gonna lose the money. I'm gonna lose, my name, and and all that comes with or whatever. So I have to stay, within the reins of whatever this whole denomination or whatever has put me in. I can't go out. I can't, because then I can just do my own thing. And most of them, they're not, because there's a lot of money in this. And not only just money, they think they're right. They really do, or whatever. But it's funny how, they say one thing, some of them, but then when they at home, it's a totally different thing or whatever. So
I got a couple of questions. I do wonder, and I haven't researched or looked into any of that. I do wonder where these terms come from. I know where the original context come from, like fag, dyke, and stuff, like that. We know what the original stuff, but how did it come to pertain to gay people? How did those labels come to, we became fags, or we became dykes, we became bull daggers and sissies and stuff. We know where the original context, what it meant, because it didn't mean what they actually used it for us. And I know we've taken those words to embrace them in our community, to take the sting out. But the other thing is, I do have a question, for the world out there. Why don't we address these labels when it's used negatively towards us, and when we're out in the world, lifing out through this world, no matter where we are, the barbershop, the church, or whatever? When we hear these, is it fear? Are we afraid of certain communities, or are we afraid of the straight community, where we'll allow them to say these words in the context that they're using them, and we don't confront them then? Or is it a fear, or is it because of, maybe we might be afraid that, we could be harmed or something? But if we're not afraid that we're going to be harmed, or whatever, why would we not just confront that when it happens, to either shut it down, or to give them some context, or, what I mean? Why do we pick and choose of when we're going to decide to confront somebody with the labels, the negative labels, when they're using it towards us negative, the slang and the labels when they're using it towards us negatively? Is it a fear? And then what is, I don't have the answer. So, what is that fear? Now, anybody knows me, they're going to know I'm going to confront it if I hear it, like right then. I've done it at work. Me and other surgeons done got into it, because they have used the bagged word, the AIDS words, like, all the AIDS are going to hell. They the one brought the AIDS here, and stuff through monkeys. I remember that years ago. We all was sitting up in administration because I would confront it. I done confronted them coming. We've been willing our patients from the emergency room into surgery, get ready to do an emergency surgery. And I heard a surgeon talking about the niggers rob and kill each other and the spics stab each other. We got into it then, right then, and we're getting ready to go into surgery. So, I will confront that stuff, once I confronted it with them, they did, it took a while, but then they came back and apologized, and you know what I'm saying? And then they realized that it was harmful. So when we don't confront it, are we allowing that to continue? And that's why they still continue to this day to, defame us, or mock us or make fun of us, with these words, even though we use them with ourselves. But, is there still a fear of like the straight community, or whatever, or we're feeling fear and what they can or what we perceive they can do to us? I mean, I don't have the answer to that, but anybody out there who may, but that's just a question that I'm throwing out there because we, like I've heard that before, like people in the barber shops. I mean, I would take my son to the barbershop when he was younger. He goes himself now, but when I would take him to get his hair cut and stuff, like that, I actually never heard that in the barbershop. I never heard no one talking about gay people or fags, but maybe I was in there I wasn't in there at the right time or whatever. But I have heard other people say, it makes them uncomfortable when they go into the barbershop and then the people in there are talking about gay stuff or something pops up on the TV and all of them are agreeing to it. Yeah, them fags or them, whatever. But then, my friends and people who I've heard say that they don't confront them, or whatever. And then they do. But it's just like Joe said, he would just get up and leave, but they don't get up and leave because they said, I need my hair cut. What I mean? I need my shape up.
In some situations, he may get up and leave. And then there's some situations where he just don't get involved. So I guess I should put context to when I say barbershop or whatever. It's never been like something offensive to where, I just have to stand up and shout to the rooftops, I'm gay too, and that's offensive. It's been like, say they're in a place or whatever, and they felt uncomfortable because there were gay people or maybe a gay person tried to hit on them. They're just really just talking about an experience that they had or whatever. And you just go with it, but at the same time you like, well, shoot, I'm gay too. I could have, that could have been me or whatever. But it's not, I've never heard it where, it's like, oh, I want to beat up this person. I want to kill this person, or, I wish they would all just burn, go away. It's just it's been like a personal situation they had or whatever. I don't think anything really comes on the T because, they do have the TVs and the radios and stuff going on. Because most times when I go to the barbershop, they're playing sports, so it's not anything that comes across the TV that they'd be like, oh, them fags, or, nothing like that or whatever. Rarely do I go into a barbershop and I see them on CNN or some news channel where they're talking about, some gay story or whatever. Most of the time it's sports or, a game or whatever, football, basketball, whatever. And, there may be rap music or, whatever music. I've gone in barbershops and they're playing gospel music. It just depends on who is, who's over it or whatever. My barber, he actually, he plays gospel music sometimes. He plays jazz. I mean, he plays a variety of stuff or whatever. So it just depends. So, but yeah, if I was in a situation where the barber did say something like, at this time where I'm at today, I would say something. But I don't. But like I said, that hasn't been my situation. The situations where I've heard gay stuff, it's been a situation that person was actually in, and I mean, I can't say that's how they reacted. I can't say whether they were wrong or right in their and how they. I can't say whether they're wrong or right in what they did or how they reacted or whatever, because they didn't really say it in a derogatory way. They were just saying, this is a situation that happened, And this is how I took it or whatever. Like, I ain't gay. I don't know why the dude, because evidently the dude thought they were gay or they wanted to talk to him or whatever, and they felt kind of offended, or they just felt a certain way, uncomfortable or whatever, because it's like, I'm not gay. Why are you talking to me or whatever? Mm-hmm. Now, if you go into more and be like, the punks and what, then we have an issue. But it was that type of stuff or whatever. And then the other question. Oh, you got kicked out.
Yeah, I got kicked out. Let me close on these.
Yeah. So thank you for being elusive and loving the channel. I'm not a cook, so yeah, I will be the better cook.
Can y'all hear me? Okay. Yeah, we got to. Now I think it kicked me out, and now it's like a delay in the episode. But anyway, so let's talk.
Like I do. You can turn that off.
Well, if I turn my phone off, then
the sound is here, right?
Yeah, if I turn my phone off, it's going to turn you off. Maybe see if you can just turn your sound.
My sound is off. It's always off.
Okay. So anyway, let's talk about. Hello? Okay. Sorry, y'all, about sound. I don't know what happened, but it kicked me out, and now it's not going to go. We'll try to wrap it real quick. So let's talk about the label bottom, top, verse. Do we limit ourselves? We call it, when we call ourselves like a bottom or a top, or those labels. I got a big specific for you. Hold on, y'all.
And so we can compare. It's going in and out. No, it's his computer. We'll have to fix it right for you. I know. I will walk very cool.
So it's this one. Sometimes it's tricky. Okay. Okay. Is that better? Okay, let's move on. So,
but you limit you. Yeah, the echo. But you have two people. You have both.
I'm trying to remove.
Okay.
Now, is that better?
No.
So I'm speaking about it. So. All right. So what do you think about that? Like, so are we lifting ourselves when we say we're tops or bottoms or whatever? Do we need to tell people? We just had a discussion last night.
You can turn your sound down, but not turn the mic off, but turn the sound down so we don't hear
that. Okay, is that better?
You got. Tell us if you can still hear Al and me, because I think it's just the feedback. What's going on?
Hello. Yeah.
No, I was just turning that.
I did turn it down.
It was good.
Nobody could hear. I just did it. Nobody could hear. See, watch. Can y'all hear me? Can anybody hear me?
I'm waiting for them to respond. Hey, I heard Al. No one responded.
Yeah, it's going now. Can you still, I got the sound down. Can you hear me now?
I still feel like it's going now, going to drop and come back.
Okay, it's still a little choppy, but it's better now. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Let me see if I can fix the audio. Hello, hello. Yeah, it's still going through the camera,
Right. Okay, so it sounds good like that. Yeah.
but I can't hear them. I mean, I can't hear me.
They can hear you.
Okay. All right. Let me know, guys, and ladies and gents and them and days. Yes, they can hear us. Okay. So, so do we limit ourselves sexually by calling ourselves bottoms and tops? What do you think? Like,
I don't think you're limiting yourself by describing what you prefer, what you get into. I think you're just letting people know, you know, what you do sexually. Um, if you limit, if you think that limits you, then you need to come up with your own term or whatever. I mean, just tell people what you are. You know, I think that's why we have so many different names. Because now, you know, you have burst bottoms, you have burst tops, you have, well, I mean, you have so many names because a lot of people don't just fit into one thing. So I don't think it limits you. I think you're just being upfront with what you do. That's why, I mean, and if not, then either you're in denial, or you don't know, or you're lying.
so we can't just go and go out on a date and meet somebody and have a conversation without, or meet some, or, you know, the people who are in the apps. You can't just meet somebody without saying I'm a top or a bottom, I'm first. You can't just meet somebody and then you figure that out as you know, through, you know, as you're going along dating, or, you know, you got more dates, or you know, you start dating or whatever. Do you, why do we have to tell people that we're tops, bottoms, or first, you know, or whatever side? I think it's now something called side. Why do we have to do that? Well, you know, straight people don't. They just go meet each other and they have sex. You know, and they do whatever they want to do, whether the woman's going to be on the top or the man's going to be on the bottom, or they're going to do this or they're going to do this type. Why do we have to name ourselves? Why do we have to label ourselves bears and otters? And, you know, I don't have a problem with it. I'm just playing the devil's advocate. Okay, why do we have to do that? Straight people just go have sex. They don't call themselves bears. They don't.
I don't understand.
Why do we have to do that though?
We do it because there's nothing. So a woman is a woman. So you know that she's gonna be the receiver. Your man, I mean, for the most part, and that's why they don't have to say this. For the most part, a man has a dingle, so he's gonna be the dealer. He's gonna be the giver. Now, if there's something different, then that they will have that come. Just like you have the top bottom, they're gonna have that conversation because from what you're presenting. You're presenting to me as a female, so I automatically think you're a receiver. You're presenting to me as a male, so I automatically assume or feel like you are the giver or whatever. So that conversation, you know, doesn't need to be had. Now, if there's different things you like done in the bedroom, then that conversation will happen later. Like she may be like, "Well, I just like riding." Or he may be like, well, I like my booty licked or whatever. That will come, you know, on down the line. But just presenting yourself as a female, automatically that I go as you're the receiver. I see you as a male, automatically go that you are, you know, a giver or whatever. With us, because we are both men or whatever, we present ourselves both as givers. Because we both have, you know, feelings or whatever. So, I mean, but you may have a preference to be like, even though I do have this feeling, I rather just receive. Or you may be like, well, yeah, I have a feeling, whatever, but I like both. I like to give and receive or whatever. So you make that known somewhere in there because then it's not always assumed within the gay lifestyle. It's kind of assumed when you have heterosexual people or whatever, but it's not always, you can't always get that when it comes to the gay lifestyle. Even when it's two women or whatever, one woman may, even though they both are the receivers, and you know, when it comes to hetero, one lady may say, no, I want to put on I want to peg you or whatever, and the other one like, oh no, I'm not pegging you, I'll receive, so we don't know. But when I see you, I don't really know unless you're showing me something, because some of them will show you that stud look. So, but to me, you still need to have the conversation, because I may present as a stud, but I may want you to peg me all night long, or whatever. So you can't really assume. And just like with the trade, like we have trade as another label. Just because I present you as trade, don't mean I'm not gonna get lie down on my stomach and let you, pick. I mean, get in, whatever, or whatever. So I think. Shout out to all the dinglings out there, okay? But no, so I think you do. Now, like you said, yes, we should be able to just be able to go out and mingle and go on a date or whatever, and that not be a thing or whatever. But eventually, it's going to come up, because you don't really know when it comes to our lives, the way we are, or whatever. It's like saying lifestyle. Who we are, how it's going to go in the bedroom or whatever. So eventually that conversation has to be had. But yeah, that's my take on it.
So what about labels on the dating apps like Grindr and Jack, and there's the straight ones too, whatever. So like no facts, no film, no female to male, no male to female, no blacks, no Asians, tops only, bottoms only. So are they necessary on the dating apps too, to let people know, even though they can say their preferences, but is that a form of discrimination and using labels to limit your chances of meeting somebody or meeting a good person or whatever, or just whatever you're looking for or whatever? Is that okay too? So we can distinguish, because we're using tops, bottoms, and what verse or whatever on the dating apps and stuff too. So, but here's the more label that we use to discriminate. Is that well, it's basically it's a form of stereotyping and discrimination to use these type of labels. I mean, you don't have to. To me, you don't have to put there no facts, no feelings, whatever. You just don't have to. In fact, you just don't have to respond, or you can say no, I'm not interested. You don't have to put those in there, because it seems to me like that's demeaning people out there who may be overweight, or what people consider overly feminine, or whatever, or So it's like how we use these labels. So it's like we take some of them, we accept them. We can accept bottom and top, or whatever, but then get these other ones in there, like no facts, no films, or I don't want no trans, or whatever. Or I don't want no black, or I only like light skin, or I only want dark skin, whatever. But I don't want no blacks. In the apps, I don't.
And just so we're clear, for the people that don't have that,
That's right.
these are not the terms that he's saying right here, or that we have presented on the screen right now. They're not built into the app. These are something that people have said in their description or whatever. Because there's Grindr and Jack don't have a place where you can put no facts or films. These are people that have chosen to get on the app, and they've chosen to put on their profile that this is what they don't like. So the individual person is doing this. So I don't want the people to think, that there are actually apps out there that have these as choices. No, these people have chosen to put this in their description. Like you said, I don't think that's called for. Just put what first of all, describe who you are and what you're into.